Yo. What's up, guys? What's up, man? Where's my chat at? I can't see it. There we go. What up, guys? What's good? Yo, Tickles. Epons. Ouch, what's up? Ayo. Jonathan. Diarno. Mac and Bees. Jojo. CFast. Tramadol, what's up, man? Echo, what's up, man? Ethereum Classic. Yeah, we'll go over Ethereum Classic. All right, guys, make sure you're coming in here. You're smashing that like button. Joining the channel if you haven't already. If you're not a subscriber, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, we do cycle analysis in this channel. And I'm going to be going over it today. Update the charts, update the pattern that we're currently in right now, and my thoughts on that. My thoughts on earnings being changed, all that jazz. Do it all. Schwain, Marks, Ellie. Okay. And I'll go over that in a little bit, man. Wait for a few of you to get in here and set up the charts here. What's your guys' favorite time frame? I want to know. Yeah, I use the 3 and the 4 hour the most. I'm going to use the 3 for this one. 4 hour. Omar, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm gonna talk about a couple of things, guys. So I am gonna pull up the pattern scanner in between this stream because I want to show you guys a pattern that just came up that is pretty interesting to think about, and we're not really going to be looking at what's going on in between, because with this stock that I'm going to pull up here in a little bit, I believe it was a SPOC. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to talk about what happened to it. And I remember when this stock pumped and dumped very quickly. And it has a similar setup to AMC as far as the time frame goes. So we'll go over that again here. Now we got 77 in here and only 22 likes. What is this, bro? Professor, you scanned it as well, man. You know what I'm talking about, right? IRNT, if that's the one that you're talking about, that is the one I'm going to pull up because, yeah, the time frame, man, is crazy. Look, I'll pull it up now so you guys can see it. So IRNT. Now, again, the pattern here is not... So the pattern scanner gets very specific data. It doesn't get it from TradingView. So... you got APIs getting, data from different brokers and different exchanges, right? This right here is little data. There's no data, but the time frame here is important. Like these, you can see that the pattern back here matches with what AMC did. And then there's this like crazy amount of volume happening right after that with very little going on in between. So I'll go over this. It's pretty interesting stuff. I'll pull it up here in a little bit. All right, and let's also get AMC up in here. I'm going to talk about where I think we are in the cycle as far as the AMC sequence goes here, pattern sequence. So they changed earnings to this month. Instead of it being the 7th, I believe, or 8th, it's now the 28th. So earnings are the 28th. Look at that. So we're going to have our little... Last time I did a stream here, we were talking about a deadline to work with. So I have multiple charts I go back in between. This is what I call the cycle tracker chart. This is where I do most of the analysis on AMC. But when I do cycle analysis, I come back to this chart because this is the one that has, well, the cycle, right? So it's very important to track that. But this is what's happening. So the current point of interest that we had here, that was inverse. On the last video, I talked about how this is setting up to turn around, start climbing back up. Okay, but it was an inverse point of interest, and the next one is in April, right? We know that. But this is not really relevant right now with what's about to happen with AMC because of a couple of things. There are 2 cycles on AMC where we have seen volume kick in after the POI takes place, and that's August 24th right here, and then that's March of 2021. So both of them you see, going into March, so February of 2021, you see a lot of volume kicking in on the red portion of the cycle. So these 2 are valid. They're both inverse on the red portion of the cycle. They're just completely inverse. Again, these are valid points of interest. They're just not, they're not considered macro POIs because, well, you're not seeing, January or June, that same pressure, or March or August. We're not seeing that same push to the upside here. So that's not valid. But with, them changing earnings and everything, it's all kind of starting to make sense now with what AMC is going to do here next. So, yesterday on the Q&A that I had for the Discord, I talked about the setup that I had here for AMC and what my thoughts are moving forward. I do think that in the short term, what we're going to see here is a potential double bottom setup on AMC. So following any weekend, any long weekend as well, sometimes that can be bullish for stocks. Right now, the ES Mini is down a little bit, and we talked about what we think the market's going to do as well. We think it's going to come down for a little bit and then bounce on that descending level of resistance. The market right now is trying to bounce back and create that projector before bouncing back, right? So what does that mean for AMC? Well, so if you guys have been tracking the SPY with us as well, we've been calling for this push ever since early this year, January. This full push here, break of resistance, and then trading sideways here was expected from the bottom here because of AMC's peak, right? So the cycle here is normally, this is an indicator that the market's going to reverse as well, whether it's up or down, depending on what the point of interest is pointing at. If it's up, well, you're likely going to experience downside. And if it's down, you're likely going to experience upside, okay? And here we're expecting a bounce at 390. That's what we talked about. So, this doesn't have to happen right away, but it is expecting, we're expecting this to happen going into March. Okay, so sometime in March, I'm expecting the market to be trading at the 390 or at least bounce from that range. What that means for AMC is that we're probably going to trade sideways until we reach the blue pattern. So for that to play out here, I think the most likely scenario is that AMC gravitates back down to that 450 range, and then we start climbing back up. And there's a couple of patterns that I have to back that up that we're tracking, right? And one of the things we talked about as well was, if we were going to see some kind of bullish pressure on AMC on Friday, we were going to see some bullish pressure this week, like early this week, we would need to see Ethereum Classic rally as well, because we do track Ethereum Classic for major rallies, because all major rallies we've had on Ethereum Classic have indicated upside on AMC, and normally, we've been tracking that here pretty accurately in on the last 3 rallies we've had on Ethereum Classic. So that's been accurate. I don't think, that would really change much. Little rallies are not going to affect AMC coming from Ethereum Classic, but larger ones will, and they have before. That's why, been wanting to see some kind of pressure here on Ethereum Classic that we haven't quite gotten yet. So everything is just, dude, it's getting ready to pop. We saw this with FIL USD. Yeah, a very similar setup here. Most cryptos are they're going one by one. If you take this pattern here, dude, bring it on over to Ethereum Classic, it's basically the same thing. And dude, they're just taking turns, on the way up. That's what they're doing. It's the same structure of a pattern, except one is just delayed a couple of days behind. So, again, this is not a certainty or anything, right? We're just taking a pattern, and that the whole point here is just to really help. Bar patterns themselves and these moving averages that we get from the bar patterns are just supposed to help in the end with everything else you're doing. They're not supposed to be, a way to track the markets and just go based off of that without doing any other analysis in the market. But, Ethereum Classic is looking like it wants to go. Look at this, dude. We also have a major break here about to happen as well. Level of resistance that hasn't been broken ever since May. So AMC is doing the same thing. And, once it breaks, what's very likely going to push, and it's going to push pretty high here. So that's what we're waiting for here. For more confirmation, this is what we want. This doesn't mean that Ethereum Classic has to go first. It could be AMC this time. We saw the same thing happen in January of 2021. AMC went first, then Ethereum Classic. So cycles will merge and cross each other, and that's completely normal. So why I'm not, too worried about that. All right. All right, let's see what's going on. Let's get some questions up in this. Yeah, smash that like button if you're coming in here. We got 146. We're missing 100 likes, man. Okay, so now that I went over SPY, Ethereum Classic, kind of went over those setups, and what we needed to happen this week, this weekend, if things were going to be bullish in the short term, that would have been the case, right? But that's not the case right now, and that's okay though. I don't think that changes much. Again, the sideways trading here for the next couple of days is what I'm expecting, and I think after that, AMC should start to curl back up. We are in a projector pattern. Okay, so for those of you that don't know what a projector is, I'll show you real quick. All right, you know what? I might do this on the other one because this one's going to be slow. right, projector pattern. Yo. Here we go. We got one right here. Okay, one. I'm gonna do a projector pattern on all the major runs we've ever had on AMC. It's very simple pattern. These are, you know, I call them projector patterns. You can call them anything you want. That's just what I call them. Okay, projector patterns. I'm gonna show you all the ones. So there should be 5 that we are tracking on the POI list. So there's 5, and I'm gonna put them in order here so you can kind of see their little sizes we got dealing with. So we got November, we got January, and then we have June. Okay, now we also have March and August. Now these are a little bit different, and their projectors are not, you know, they're not the same. You can clearly see that these were major runs. Mostly January and June were the big runs, and those you can clearly see the projector. These two, okay, the projector lies and is different. Like this one down here, it took a little bit longer, but it's right here, right? That's the initial projector. Then it fakes out on earnings, and then it goes. Okay, with March here, it's a little different. It's a hovering one. It's very small. But you do have a stage in which you're shaking people off on the way up. Now, this one is different because it does come down and almost, it doesn't double bottom, but it almost does. This one looks very similar to the one that we had in August. And what do these both have in common? Well, the ratios are the same, and they both line up with earnings. Earnings right here. Earnings right here. So now, because we are trading at lower levels, and there's a lot really waiting to happen in the short term, because we have, you know, reverse split, a decision that hasn't been made yet. We have the, you know, everything really, like whether the answer is yes or no on the vote, that's going to affect all 3 of the decisions that are going to affect AMC in the end, right? The very little dilution that they're doing, AMC merging back with APE merging back with AMC, so we're gonna have just AMC now, and then obviously the reverse split. Okay, reverse split. So we'll go over that. Reverse split, right? Okay, but anyways, the projector pattern, guys, is what we see prior to a major run, and it's just a test. It's part of the algorithm. A failed projector looks like this. In the cycle, this is what we consider one of the nasty inverse points of interest that we've had, because here we had our test. We had our little projector, right? And then once it got to the POI, it failed, right? And then we started to climb back down. So, you know, these are smaller projectors, but they're still freaking projectors, man. I mean, look at that. Look at how freaking accurate that looks. Wow, actually, whoa, bro, that looks freaking accurate. What the fuck? All right, this one looks like stupid accurate. Okay, there's a projector right there. Look at that. Fucking projector, man. Now, this is pretty interesting because, so projectors, remember, they happen before, or I've seen them happen before, major rallies, and these shorter term rallies as well that we've had here, the last 2 that have been smaller, but they're still, you know, they're still considered POIs. Now this right here, because it is going into the peak in the cycle, so the green portion of the cycle, that's pretty valid here. That's actually really valid. Watch. You see this right here? See how it comes back down? So this could turn around, flip inverse, and start climbing back up, which is what we're expecting, right? I'm not expecting things to come lower. That's not the goal here, and I would not wish that for AMC. Obviously, if the market takes a turnaround and it starts crashing, it starts coming down, then we would have a different conclusion here. But we know that these sorts of things can flip and do flip many, many, many times. So something like this, I would expect it to flip and do the complete opposite, which is come back up. And remember, the short pressure on the downside is very much controlled by the algorithm. It doesn't look natural. This doesn't look like a natural selling pressure. It only looks natural on the way up because that's where they have to suppress the volume. That's where you have a lot of buyers coming in. So it looks very natural on the way up, a lot of volatility. But on the way down, it's orchestrated. It's you got a lot of algorithms suppressing the volume and making it look a certain way. Why we have a cycle, why things repeat themselves over and over and over again, because of the algorithm. Okay, so projector pattern check. We do have it. It's there. And we're coming up to a very important pattern here in the cycle. For those that are familiar with the cycle, the blue pattern is where we normally do trade sideways, but sometimes we have seen some smaller points of interest play out between there and the going into the red portion, which is, a lot of it is adding up now. Okay, let's see. Let's do even this one, bro. What the hell? This looks freaking accurate. Hold up. I'm like stretching this one out. Look at how freaking accurate this one is. All right, so this one's like it's there. It's crazy, man, how these patterns just match. And they're like literally the same. Would be calling for upside here. And we're like right here in the cycle. $69 likes, man. Come on, let's get that number up there. Let's get it up there. Come on, guys. How high is the run up? I would not be able to tell you that based on the cycle, but just based on price targets as far as trend lines of resistance and support, fib level, stuff like that, you can kind of come up with like a projection. Here, like previously we had talked about that $14 level on this descending wedge. We also had this level of resistance here. And they both were going to, which this is why, I thought things were going to come back up here. And I think they were pretty valid from a TA perspective. But here, going into the cycle, obviously you have your little projector, and then we're expecting things to climb back up here and reach that $14 level because we have a parallel channel trend line down here, and then we have this descending wedge trend line, and they both clashed right at the peak. So it would have made sense for something like that to play out. Yes, Wizard of Oz. Yes, that is true. You will see a pretty messed up chart after the split. That is it's just the way charts look. Most brokers will, I've already seen like 5 different versions of what AMC looks like right now. Different brokers providing different data, but like the daily chart should not be changed. I think that one's gonna look very similar. You're just gonna see wherever AMC is trading at times 10. The high should be, that's 77. And then the ratio between the way things are merged between Ape and AMC, that's going to change a little bit as well. But that's why we need to wait, man, because, anything can happen from now until the split. AMC can go up higher. It can go lower than Ape. Ape can reach, X amount of levels. And, that's going to change, man. The ratio is going to change. Yeah, you guys should have gotten a email if you are able to vote. Okay, depending on who your broker is, and that was sent last week. All right, let's pull up the pattern scanner and see what we got going on here for AMC. Pattern scanner is coming out very soon. I keep saying that, but it's true. We're trying to really make this thing a clean, easy to use program. So we are taking our time with it. But the beta is out. If you guys want to try out the beta, you just got to click the link below, Discord, Patreon, all that good stuff, and it'll take you straight there. You guys can use it as well. It's at twescanner.cc. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up, man. All right, so here's our lovely pattern scanner. And this is the one that, just pops up. You type in AMC, and this is the freaking pattern that it pops up with. It's the one that it's scanned for. And why this is relevant here is, well, yeah, IRNT didn't have much going on for a good bit. It was... with this data here, it's scanning for IRNT 2021, March 4th, from the lows here, it's really scanning 180 days of data, and then it's spitting out the forecast projection based on this pattern. Most of them are, you can kind of see the structure because, well, AMC goes from 24 here all the way down to 10. This is using the AMC chart that you look at. If you track, or if you have the broker, the Thinkorswim, it's going to have the one where there is a gap on the chart, and this is the same one that we're using, right? So, because you want to be able to track things based off of AMC's original chart, and that's unfortunately the one that we have to track here, is the one that's going to give us the most accurate data. So this is calling for a pretty massive push here. I scan. We scan all of these patterns in the market. There is a list of stocks right now and securities that we scan, and then we use those for reference. These are not meant to be used for a prediction or anything like that. It's another tool that will help in the end. I think it will make you analyze trades. It'll be easier to analyze trades because, well, now we have another pattern suggesting that our analysis is correct. If the analysis that we have is pointing to the upside, and then we have a pattern that's basically tracking for that. This is good for levels. It's good for a lot of different things. And yeah, man, IRNT, crazy pattern here. There's a couple of other ones. Let's do GME. Man, I saw one on GME that looked freaking awesome, dude. Pretty sure it was this one. Yeah, it was SGMO. And look, watch this. So now I'm gonna take it out. We're gonna go back to the charts. I'm gonna go on GME because I already took it in. I am for reference, right? Where did it go? Or no, it was Goss. Goss, that's what it was. Here we go. And we're on the daily chart, so we got to change our time frame. And that's basically how it works. Right now you have the cool thing about this, guys, is that this is not just scanning every single time frame in the market, right? We're not scanning the 1 hour and then using it as a fractal to scan it on the daily chart. No, these are stocks that have this is happening in the same time window, just in a different time in the market. So this pattern that it's scanning for could have been found, in 2020, 2018, and so on. We're working on getting more data. So essentially, we're going to have a catalog of over 20 years, which is going to be crazy because then we can scan the entire market. And then, dude, at that point, I mean, finding perfect matches. And another example of this is SPY, how we've been tracking here. And here are the candidates we have so far that have been freaking scanning forever. Look at that. So we found this on the pattern scanner. When? Go back on the videos down here and look at this. This right here is entirely predicted using this pattern scanner. Why I think this is an amazing tool. Won't always get things right, but it is a really nice tool to compare other stocks in the market that have done this in the past, because the market, in this channel, at least, I believe that the markets are driven through derivatives. So any stock that has an option chain and you're scanning, other stocks in the market with similar data points might likely suggest the same thing. If we think things are being manipulated or highly controlled by an algorithm with a lot of leverage, right, over a large majority of traders, well then, if that is the case, then most of the time things will play out a similar way, because that's what algorithms do, man. Algorithms know patterns, they know the strategy. A lot of this goes with Wyckoff as well, right? Wyckoff is composite man making these patterns and knowing how to shake your average trader, retail trader, so that they win every single time, right? So this is just making your life a little bit easier, already finding the patterns that we've seen in the market, in the historical market data, and providing that for us here. So we have this one. Okay, there's a couple of other ones. And most of these guys were calling for upside, that initial upside, and then downside, right? For example, this one is calling for major downside, but I don't agree with this. This is not something that goes with my analysis. So up to this point, I would be looking at something else. But the reason why I was bullish in the short term was because so many patterns, not just that one, dude. There was like 7 that we were tracking that were all calling for upside. So that made me extremely, bullish based on everything else we were tracking. And then using all the other indicators, right, that we use. So cycle indicators, volume indicators, stuff like that. Everything else that you do, this is just supposed to be that, the icing on the cake, guys. I heard that, Tom. Do I think the TD to Schwab change over will affect your buy and sell ability? I don't think so. I think it's, I read into that a little bit ago, and I think some people were getting a little bit upset if there was going to be like fees added, like they normally. I think Schwab has the fees, and if they were going to transition over, I don't think so. I think things are just they're just merging companies, and they're going to change, remain everything the same as if it was, Thinkorswim, the Thinkorswim platform. Now, if they add any other stuff, I mean, there might be additions to it, like features and stuff, but I don't think they're going to change the structure of like fees and stuff like that, and the buy and the ask. I could be wrong, but I just read into that like about a month ago, so I might be a little bit outdated on that if I'm incorrect, but I would double check. Okay. Yeah, let's do a little analysis then on Ethereum Classic in the short term. See what we got going on here. Because Ethereum Classic is getting ready and set to go. If you guys, so for those that are interested in crypto and stuff like that, I do provide crypto plays that I look at and stuff on the Discord. So if you're interested, click the link below. We've been tracking Ethereum Classic for a little bit. GRT both had amazing moves this week, and they're doing it, man. So a lot of fake outs in between. We are developing a little flag right now. Flags normally have one fake out, normally, to either direction. So with Ethereum Classic, what we normally see prior to a big push is that fake out. And I'll show you every single time where this fake out is. So here is one of the runs. There's the fake out. Okay, right here, you can see in the short term, a little fake out, pumps, dumps. It's a pump dump, right? That's the fake out. Pump dump, pump dump. Here's another one. Right there. It's the crypto strategy, guys. If you're gonna the crypto game is very different from the stock market in the way things trade. With crypto, and this is what I said the other day. With crypto, you're going to have your stock, and it's a leverage washing machine is what I call it, because all it's doing is it's just liquidating back and forth. Whereas a stock, or most stocks that don't have that volatility, they don't have that volatility. You know, they're not going to do that. They're just going up and down, and you know, occasionally you're going to have your volatility events like that, but it's very smooth. It's because, well, the stock market is, I believe, it has to do with the fact that it is regulated, right? And there's not a lot of regulations on crypto, so they can really do whatever they want, and there's just so much volatility, man. And you know, the leverage game right now is pretty insane on crypto. So that's what they're constantly doing, is just shaking off and washing off, right, these traders that go long or on isolated margin, and then they liquidate those positions very quickly, and then they start pumping the stock. So that is a crypto way, I think. So most of the time, you're going to see a fake out before a major rally on most cryptos. Rarely, dude, I'm serious. Rarely do you see it, you know, climb up, get ready to go, and then it just goes. Nah, dude, there's a fucking fake out before it happens. And right now on Ethereum Classic, at least, it doesn't quite seem like we've had that fake out develop yet. Now, I don't think it's going to be a major one, but with leverage, normally with leverage trading, they try and liquidate, at least from what I've seen, is the 50xers and the 100. Everything else, you can kind of see it might be a little bit less likely that they would liquidate you unless it's like a major fake out. But normally the 50 and the 100 go first to whatever direction it's anticipating, right? So here in this case, 50 would be 1.7 and 100 would be 85. And that's my rule right there. It's whenever I see the fake out happen, that to me that's an indicator. One of the indicators I use for a potential reversal. I have a little tool, man, right here. I don't know if you guys can even see it. Oh yeah, you can see it. So this is the VWAP. And I use this on the minute chart for crypto. And you can see here, it's set to the 50x levels. So when it gets very close to it, that's where you get that rejection back down. Vice versa, right? Look at this. It touches the VWAP down here, and then it reverses back up as soon as it touches it. Because it's set to that 50x parameter, which is just a percentage. And it works really well, actually. This, like, never It rarely crosses unless the crypto that you're tracking is extremely volatile. But most of the time, it just gets close, and then you see a reversal. So it's pretty neat. This is one of the indicators I use for it. And it's working, man. It's working freaking amazing. Echo. So this one is called a liquidation screener. It's an awesome indicator. Highly recommend. Liquidation screener. Corbin Dallas. So I got SPY sideways. No. So SPY I have going down. Now the time frame here is a little bit. Like there's a little bit of room here for the SPY to continue to come back up. The way I described this on the channel earlier was we have a call a little curved parallel channel, and what this is doing is it's just trading on these walls and might develop into a macro cup that fakes out and then starts climbing back down. That would be the only other short-term bearish scenario that I have. I don't think the market is going to like take a massive dump. I think it's going to come down to 390, and then at 390 it should bounce back up. Now that the time frame on that again is between I personally think it's either going to be towards the end of the week, going into March. I think that's the best time frame I have here. There might be one more fake out before it starts climbing back down. And then right here is where I see the market turning around. However, if things do cross below that trend line, then we're looking at, 375 again. And then the market's just stalling back and forth, not really giving the bulls or the bears a chance. That's really what the market is just doing. This is a pretty insane pattern though, man. Like the amount of projectors we get on AMC, dude, most of them are tracking the same way. They all look stupid similar. And they're all pointing and spotting a nice little POI for us. So, I mean, because the levels, man, the levels are heading up now. Don't take this with a grain of salt, obviously, as you should. Any data, any analysis, everything. I don't see the green one playing out to the downside. I would see it playing to the upside. If there was something like this, I think right at this point, so it would be, end of March going into April, which April happens to be the next POI on AMC, like the next major POI. Something like that might be valid, but in this case, because we have earnings and we have the split happening, things should be a little different. So if you want to know more of that, just rewind the video to where I talk about this micro POI. Because there's macro and there's micro, guys. There's two. Yes, Fed does release minutes this week. That is true. We do have minutes on Wednesday, and yeah, you already know how that works. We actually have two data. We have jobless claims as well, I think, on Thursday. So 2 sets of data. You already know what that can do to the markets. So that's why I'm also considering some volatility towards the end of the week, and it's a short week as well. It's a short week, so a lot can happen, man, in 2 days, and that is what we got, man. We got 2 days. We got 2 days for Wednesday. So if the market fakes out tomorrow, might be setting up to come back down on Wednesday, going into Friday. High in that 390 range is what I'm looking for. Alrighty, guys, do me a favor and subscribe. Subscribe, man. Hit that notification bell, and it'll notify you when we rally with the family. You don't want to miss out on the rallies. I'm gonna get some elephants and some gorillas up in this. Some apes on the next rally, man. We haven't had a nice rally on AMC, unfortunately, in a little while. I think the last major rally we had was, prior to the division of AMC and Ape, where they divided and went their separate ways. And I want to rally, man. I want to rally with the family. So when we get our little stream, we're gonna rally and it's gonna be lit. All right. Ellie, what I'm going to say to that is we've seen crazy things happen in the markets in the past. So it's not impossible, and I don't think anybody can predict that specifically, like a price level, a price target. I think that's very hard to do because there's a lot of external factors you have to consider when the price is going up, and an algorithm can do so much, and there's limits to it. There's a threshold, and the only thing I say about that of what I've seen happen in the past is, well, once that threshold is exceeded, or it exceeds the threshold, that is where you see a squeeze, and the price goes wherever it wants to. With GameStop, it went to 500. I'd call that a mini squeeze because, well, they did remove the buy button, so that was what. See, this is what I'm saying. That was the external factor that made it come back down. How many times have we seen halts on AMC? Many, many, many times. So there's a lot of things that we have to consider as far as where the price can go and what can stop it. And I always preach that, in that nobody knows where it's going to go, because nobody can tell you that something's going to come up in the way and suppress that for us or take it away from us like they have in the past. So I'm not saying it can't go to crazy levels. If it was fair, and if everything was lining up according to the data that we have and stuff like that, I would say this thing can go wherever it wants. And if it was normal selling pressure, normal buying pressure, the charts would look very different. You would not have a cycle. You would not be able to track what things are doing. That is what I have to say about that. I believe that things are unfair in the markets, and that's the reason for these algorithms. That's the reason for these very structured patterns that we track in the market, because things are unfair. If they were fair, again, they would not look like this. I don't think they would look like this at all. What was another? Let's do a little bit of a comparison here. Let's do Riot, because Riot, man, I found something on Riot the other day, and it just caught my eye. So let's get Riot up in here. Look at this. This is Riot's massive projector pattern prior to this, which is crazy. It's crazy. And look, easy example here, guys. You want to know how we can just track patterns here and track some of the things? Look. We take this, we paste it here, and we move it right here. Bam. Bam, 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 man. Look at that. Same thing. I'm telling you, man, patterns just repeat themselves over and over again. Sometimes, this is why I love the pattern scanner, is because it does this for me. I don't have to scan the markets and be like, yo, this is happening this way. But, like, really, man, all you have to do here, if you find an entry position or an entry point here in the market, this happened in 2021, right? So if you're like, yo, this looks similar to AMC's current chart, I wonder if it's going to play out like that. And not only does this provide a detailed version of that pattern, but you start to see it play out on very similar time levels as well, whatever you want to call it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and this is the goal of that tool that I'm talking about. The pattern scanner, this is basically what it does. And, not all patterns are going to do that. Not all patterns are going to look the same. Some are going to derive from the sequence you're tracking, and they're going to track something else. They're going to start going up. But in general, it gives you a good idea of where it's likely that you're going to experience that volatility zone, that point at which the price starts drastically coming down or drastically going up. But anyways, let's talk about this here. I don't know why I have Riot up here for AMC. Oh, that's why. Okay, this is why. It was like this, but TradingView moved it like it always does. Look how freaking crazy this is, guys. So this one is short-term bearish, but it is, and this is one that the pattern scanner also found. It found it a little bit ago, though, so this has been like this for a while. I've had it here for about 2 weeks. And you guys can see also between the two, again, this is Riot down here. And it starts right here. Okay, so this is where it starts. You get earnings. And this, this case we had for AMC, so this wasn't quite the launch of Ape. It's not all the way up there. So we have it from the $9 level coming down, developing this, what is a projector pattern. And then, this would indicate that the markets would come down. This is why I'm saying this is just a candidate. It's not what's gonna ultimately happen. But the purpose here, the point is that we gather as many patterns as we can, because if the thesis ends up changing, if the price ends up coming down and it tracks something else, well, that now we have references for those patterns that were tracking that in the past. Because some are going to track upside, some are going to track downside. You want to be able to track things from both directions, because not everything is going to play out as it seems. That's just the markets, guys. So yeah, this one looked pretty interesting to me. What I liked about this one was, I gotta change the time frame now. Is that this lined up with the March thing here. March POI. So I'm going to take that as well. Get a whole set of data here. I believe. I'm pretty sure it did. If not, it was the August one. I might be tweaking. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it did. Was it this one? Is it August? There we go. Oh no, it's June. Holy shit. Okay, so with tracking patterns, guys, a lot of the times when some of the POIs don't line up, that doesn't quite matter. Tracking previous levels of resistance or support is very important, because it tells you where the price. This is just playing out in a different time, in what is considered this sequence of the cycle. This happened to happen right here for Riot, right? It happened a lot sooner, a lot quicker. This looks like Lucid. But the levels are the same. So this is why this is fucking cool. It's giving you natural levels, natural fib levels that have already played out in the market. And you don't have to use any tools or anything for that. It's telling you where the price went to. Very likely hit that fib level on this chart down here. So yeah, just another little pattern tracking, man. Shit, Riot is be looking pretty interesting too. Also in a projector. Most patterns, guys, are in a projector right now. Most charts are in a projector. Crypto. I haven't done AMC's weekly in a little bit. Look at that, man. Just riding the pink spot here. Pink spot curve on the spots indicator. We got the pink level of resistance here, and it's just bouncing off of those walls. Look at that. It just quickly went into that, hit that $7 level, and then got rejected back down on the weekly chart. Once we have a full cross, remember originally we were tracking this down here. And this is still valid, being that it's the weekly chart, because things sometimes do extend a little bit and they don't play out for the next cycle. But once this crosses, I mean, we haven't seen this happen ever since January. Right? That was the last time we saw a full cross, not a rejection back down. Okay, this one has the same thing. It has a cross, gets rejected, comes back down, bounces off of that level of resistance, comes back down again, so creates a double bottom. Okay? Here, we don't have that yet. We have a cross, we have a bounce, but we don't have the double bottom set up yet. So that hasn't developed quite yet, which is also something to track, man. This is just it's just an indicator. But it's pretty fucking bullish, man. See from the cross. Okay. That's what we normally were expecting. But since things are a little bit extended now, they probably wouldn't look like that, right? They would look something like, maybe something like that. Once it crosses, this basically all this is saying is that once it does cross, it can have that full push through, because we've seen it happen before. We've seen it happen multiple times before. Alrighty, guys. Let's go ahead and cut the stream here. I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple of other things here for our little nice weekend off, and I hope you guys will do the same. I hope everybody's having an awesome President's Day off. If you did have that off, but I will see you guys this week on stream. If you guys want to know a little bit more about what we do in the cycle world, we do have a Discord, and there's a lot of good people in there. If you want information on the pattern scanner or the plays or the crypto plays, all that good stuff, you can also click the link below and it'll take you straight there on the website, tradingwithemotions.com. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Love you. Subscribe. Like this. Bye-bye.